Welcome, everybody. John Zager. Second time today. Yay. Um, 11 o'clock in the morning, Colorado time. I did a podcast earlier this morning and just getting a lot of downloads right now. So came up with this one. Did a little bit of research and thought I would jump on real quick and talk about leadership and the qualities of leadership. And again, what I'm going to be talking about is neuroscience. It's not necessarily about business, although it applies to business leadership qualities. And it's psychology because it also applies to people in general and just their daily goings on. And it's probably not going to be real long, but it's beneficial, you guys, and I really hope that you all want to listen to it. I think you'll be inspired. If I could find... I'm drinking turmeric and ginger root tea. Go look that one up. Turmeric root and ginger root. It's excellent for you. Still cloudy, waiting for the rain. Rain hasn't come down. It's supposed to rain today and tomorrow. So leadership. The qualities of a leader. The qualities of a leader. And I'm going to reference to stuff I've been listening to on YouTube with Simon Sinek. Please go listen to him. I referenced to him earlier today in a different topic. And again, the guy is marvelous. He's outstanding. And here's the way the conversation goes when we're talking about leadership. In the large corporations, right? I'm going to use an example he gave, actually. Second thought, I'm going to use this example. And Simon, when he was giving a lecture, a speech, he gave this as an example. He was asked to come and be the, I don't know what they call it, the main speaker for Microsoft convention or something. I don't know. And he was also asked at a different time to be the main speaker at the Apple convention. I find that fascinating, just that alone. I just think that's amazing that you would get offered to be the lead speaker at both of those competing companies. And so he went to Microsoft and, as always, gave a spectacular speech and, talked about leadership and business, and that's his background anyway. And comes to find out in being at Microsoft that their main element is being number one. Of course, that's okay. And at any cost, which is, in my mind, not okay. And they're sort of limiting, goals and unlimited goals. One being the big picture, one being a smaller picture. And Microsoft, as near as I understand listening to Simon, and of course I stand corrected if I'm misrepresenting it, but I don't think I am. It's kind of like a lot of corporations, large corporations. You know, you have the CEO, the leader of the company, the guy who's supposed to inspire you and empower you and motivate you and, you know, all that kind of good stuff, right? And they have numbers they have to obtain, you know, in quarters, you know, quarterly reports, and you're supposed to be making a profit. If you're the CEO, you're kind of like, you have your, excuse me, you know, you have your head on the line. And some corporations in the United States and worldwide will sacrifice their employees for their benefit. Follow me on that? You know, they go down the line and they look at, they didn't make their projected earnings for that quarter. So therefore, heads are going to roll. And Microsoft, as near as I understand, you know, is fairly hardcore in driving their employees to produce. And here's how you can stay with the company. We have to make our numbers, you have to make your numbers. I, as a CEO, am going to do anything that I have to do in order to reach the amount that Microsoft needs this quarter. So that's Microsoft and hundreds and hundreds of other major companies in the world. That's how they manage. That's how they lead. And doesn't mean they know how to lead. They just happen to be the leader by happen chance, and their method is not anything that would take into account the consideration of the employees. All right? Apple, on the other hand, looks at the big picture, the long term, right? What's going to make our company good? What's going to make our employees better? What's going to make the world want to buy Apple? They came up with a strategy long time ago. And they decided that they're going to win some, they're going to lose some. And it's not at any and all cost. In other words, they have projections for their quarterly income, right? And of course they want to, and they have to make their quotas, yes. But if they don't, for instance, they're going to go around and talk to their employees, and they're going to say, what are we doing wrong? What are we not giving you? What are we not teaching you? What are we not educating you with? What can we do as a company to help and assist you with your job? Wow. Whew. Day and night difference, black and white, yeah? And that's Apple. That's Apple. And other companies in the world, major companies in the world. I'm supposing that there are some that act in that manner. So they're compassionate towards their employees. And as a result, they're just on top of the industry year after year after year after year after year. Their products are, Microsoft can't compete with them. They might come up with something once in a while that beats them, but overall, the long range, the long haul, Apple just wins hands down. Does that make sense? So here's the takeaway. We're talking about leadership. We're talking about neuroscience, right? Here's the takeaway. You could put an employee in either company, and based how the company's leadership performs will determine whether that employee is good or bad. Let me give you one other example that Simon came up with, and this will maybe help clear that up. He was at Las Vegas, I don't know, staying at the Four Seasons, outstanding place, wonderful place. Went to the barista to get some coffee, and wonderful guy there, barista. I forget what his name was. Norm or something like that. And he just was outstanding. As good as Simon had ever seen, right? And he says, something to the effect of, what's going on with you? How do you like working here at Four Seasons? And, the guy just said, everybody approaches me all day long, managers, supervisors, with, doesn't matter what department they're from, what can we do to make your life better here at the Four Seasons? And we'll call him Norm. I don't know his name, forgot. Norm went on to tell Simon that he also worked at, I don't know, Caesar's Palace or some other prominent hotel chain as whatever, maybe a barista, I guess, over there. And they just drove and drove and drove and drove him. And micromanaged and criticized and did things that made him concerned and worried about his employment. And in turn, as near as I understand or interpret the story, did a not so good job. Takeaway. Takeaway is you could have an individual employee that's working either for a leader, CEO, manager, supervisor, leadership we're talking about, that is concerned about the compassion, well-being, and production, obviously, of his or her employee, and that same employee at a different company that could care less about them and is willing to waste them if they can't perform up to the standard that they desire. Takeaway, of course, is how you're treated. That employee can either be good or bad. Take yourself, for example, whoever's out there listening. You know what? I just realized that this is Memorial Day weekend right after my last podcast. I had no idea. I think I actually even said yesterday, where are all the people at? The town's empty. The town's still empty. Nobody's here. I had no idea it was Memorial Day weekend. Anyway, that was a sidebar. Sorry about that. So, take yourself, for example. Put yourself in either of those two situations. And how would you respond? I go to, I don't eat fast food, but I go to fast food places periodically with a friend, and or to just sit and work on my computer or something and use their Wi-Fi. And I watch very carefully how the employees act. Some of the places I go to, I would never go back. I've been treated so poorly. And some of the places I've gone to, I've been treated like a king, and I'm a person with no money. Leadership. I watch I guess they're called supervisors or managers, I guess, of these fast food places, and it's about leadership. You know, is there compassion for their employee, and are they trying to provide to their employee anything and everything they can provide for that person that would benefit their employment, which in turn has been proven to produce better results and more money, obviously. Customers will keep coming back and frequenting the place. So that's business, kind of just briefly talking about leadership. And we all know the stories where companies have just mass fired hundreds of people in a company that's not performing, and that's the leadership saying, you're responsible, I'm not. It's your mistake. You're the reason we didn't make the money. right? I worked at a major, probably one of the, I'll just, without saying a name, I worked at one of the top 2 airlines in the world. Top 2 or 3 airlines in the world. And I was the person who handled the complaints from the employees, right? And this airline treated their employees terribly. And the airline that I'm talking about actually went from well over 100,000 employees down to 50,000 because of poor management, poor leadership. Just treated their employees like crap. And their employees ended up not being good employees to customers. And customers hated the airline, even though it was ranked 1 or 2 for a while. And to this day, I had a short tenure with it, but to this day, it's still just as bad. They didn't understand leadership, management, and the one thing they clearly didn't understand was how do you make an employee a good employee? Not by taking things away, not by limiting their ability to perform, but by having compassion and sitting down with them and asking, what can we do to make your stay here with us better? What can we do to make your job better? What can we do to help you? Maybe it's education. Maybe it's money for that. Maybe it's counseling. I don't know what's going on with you, but I want to be able to support you and keep you here long term, as long as you want to stay with the company. All right. I've worked at, that was probably the biggest corporation I ever worked for. And it was terrible. Just terrible. So now we're still talking about leadership and the qualities of leaders. Let's talk about, this is going to be stepping off the edge of the pool and into the pool a little bit, so kind of bear with this one. Let's talk about leadership of family. Mom and Dad. What are they doing to make their son or daughter to grow up and be an outstanding young person, young adult, high achiever, successful? What are they doing? What are parents doing to cause that to happen? I understand that parents love their kids, but their leadership skills could be really lacking. Where's the compassion? What can we do to help you, child, do better in school, do better in sports? What can we do to help you get what you need to succeed in life? No, that doesn't mean, you give the kid everything they ask for. We're not talking about that. We're just talking about modeling a behavior that's going to make them feel good about themselves, you as parents, and people in general. Pretty simple, yeah? We know the parents that do the opposite of those three things. They're modeling behavior for the kids that don't like themselves, that don't like their parents, and really don't like the world. Same kid, right? Same kid. Different leader, different leadership. Okay? That's the podcast for this afternoon, or for late morning anyway. And I just think this is a really thought-provoking topic. It actually would be a really good deal to meditate on it. What can we do when we see somebody struggling? And again, we could see somebody struggling in so many different ways. Their emotions, their physical aspect, their view of things, their work ethics. I mean, what can we do when we run across these people to make their lives better? When we walk around on the planet, we're like leaders anyway, right? We're modeling behavior. You go up to someone, I don't know, in their early 20s, and you can clearly see, they're struggling with their attitude. They're struggling with how to deal with their life. You can be critical, or you can be compassionate, and then see what the results are. So anyway, God bless everybody. Take care of one another. Look forward to talking to you all again real soon. See you. Bye.